Hello everybody, I'm Carl the Garden Guy, and along with Mayford, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to be planting tomatoes and basil for the spectacular companion planting combination. Let's get into it. So today's video is all about growing basil and its companion plant tomatoes in a container. Now, what's really cool about that is they grow terrifically together. You know, in food gardening, there's a saying, if it goes together, it grows together. And so many people will tell you how delicious tomato and basil go together on the plate. So, I've got an awesome big pot over here, and I'm going to be showing you exactly how to sow these guys into this dude over here. Now, when it comes to container gardening, one of the most important things is your soil type. Drainage is extremely important, especially when you're growing vegetables, and something like tomatoes, which many of you will know, they can be susceptible to some pests and diseases. So you want to make sure that you give them the best conditions possible. So let's start up with filling this pot. I'm going to put in some compost, and I'm going to show all my little seed sowing secrets. Alright guys, so as you can see, this is filled up nice and level. Now, you want to make sure this isn't only compost. A bit of a potting soil is always a good thing because of that drainage, and you want some water retention as well. Right, so here comes the secret pot, right? We've got a pot full of compost, and into this we want to sow our seeds. Now, one of the best products to use is this thing called homegrown from Pocot. You'll find it all over the place, and basically it's a bag. You cut open the top, you add the recommended amount of water, and that's going to give you an awesome little substrate or an awesome little medium that you can then come and add into your potting soil on top of it, and that's what we're going to be sowing our seed into. So let me do that quickly. What's really cool about growing companion plants like tomatoes and basil in a container like this is that you get to put it anywhere really. And I love to put this outside the kitchen, which means that while you're cooking, you can just run out and nip off your tomatoes and your basil right while you're cooking. Now the next step is to be sowing our tomato and our basil seeds. Now these guys, sometimes they get big seeds, sometimes you get smaller seeds. And what's really important is that you don't sow all of them at once, okay? That's really important, because you could imagine 2 full packets of seeds, none of these plants are going to stand a chance. They're going to be competing with each other. Right, so a really cool trick that I like to use is just take a piece of paper. I like to sort of fold it so that all the seeds don't disappear. So we're going to open our seeds onto this piece of paper, and that's going to allow us to make sure that we're not sowing too many at a time, because if I had to take this packet now and just randomly start sowing seeds, you could imagine there's going to be seed all over the place. Okay, so it's really important. Grab a piece of paper, right? Empty your seeds into the paper, and look at that. I mean, there is just so many seeds in here. It's ridiculous how many seeds you get in one packet, right? Really good value for money. And what's really cool is now we can have a look and pick out just a few seeds, just a few, for the amount we need, right? Now, as always, on the back of your packet, there'll be clear instructions as to how far you want to separate your seeds. And typically the same rule holds true whether you're sowing in container or whether you're sowing in open ground. Okay. Now we're going to be companion planting in this container, so keep that in mind, that in between these basil plants we want to sow some tomatoes as well. Now keep that spacing ratio in mind, okay, and there's clear instructions to guide you along. Now these are the basil seeds, and I'm just going to go ahead and evenly space them in my container. And remember, with seeds very often less is more, okay. If you plant too many seeds, you're going to have to end up thinning them out anyway, and typically you want to plant a seed about 1.5 times the depth of the size of the seed. after sowing, we're just going to empty the seeds back into our packets for safe storage, because of course these packets are lined with everything you need to keep your seeds safe and dry and secure, okay, to make sure they don't germinate when we don't want them to, okay. And then we've got the tomatoes, and you'll see these seeds have been treated, which means you know you're going to get that great germination rate. Right, that's really important. I've put my seeds into the container. Right guys, so we've evenly spread our seeds all along the growing medium, and next up we're coming in with a fine textured vermiculite. This stuff is available at any nursery, and this we're going to put over the top, just an even thin layer over all of our seeds, and that's going to make sure that we sort of put them in a little blanket, and that's going to keep them safe and keep them moist so that they germinate and that they have everything they need to start that growth process. Right, so now we've got our vermiculite in, and the last step is to come in and water. I like to use a spray bottle, especially when working with finer seeds like the basil. And this is just going to make sure that obviously your seeds get to germinate. Now make sure you water really well, especially the first time, and if you water well the first time, you can leave it quite a few days before needing to water again. So we're just going to make sure we water nice and evenly, get all our seeds nice and wet, and that's going to make sure they grow into those delicious plants we all love. Step 1, fill your soil with a well-drained medium. Step 2, add a water retaining medium like potgrond or any peat. Firm that into place. Sow your seeds evenly and make sure you spread them according to the package instructions. Very important. Add a layer of vermiculite, water that in to make sure everything stays in place. And a step I might have missed, you want to firm your seed into place. You want to make sure that that seed and that soil medium is making contact, because that's essential for healthy germination. All right guys, and there you go. In no time you're going to have a delicious pot full of amazing plants you and your family can enjoy at any time throughout the season.